Mike Oldfield, A Life Dedicated to Music, is a book which was released around 2013, and it was written by Chris Dewey. Now, Chris Dewey is the editor of the Mike Oldfield fanzine, Dark Star, which publishes a magazine every so often. And what Chris has done is he's taken highlights from over 30 issues spanning the same amount of years, more or less, and he's compiled them chronologically to give you a career-spanning story from Mike Oldfield's very early days right up until 2013, which was just a year after he appeared at the London Olympics and gave a stellar performance at the Olympic Stadium. Now, what I'll do is I'll read the synopsis of the book, which will give you a good idea of what to expect. So, Mike Oldfield has consistently delivered momentous compositions with virtuoso performances since the groundbreaking Tubular Bells in 1973. Excelling at every challenge from folk, pop, classical, reggae, heavy rock and video production to computer games, his creative genius and insistence on perfection has ensured his place as one of the world's most successful recording artists. This new biography documents Oldfield's career through information gathered in interviews during the author's 27 years producing Mike Oldfield fan magazines. It collects together the views of other musicians, music industry experts and Oldfield's closest fans, as well as brand new interviews with the author's own insights, all assembled in chronological order from the beginnings of Oldfield's music career 45 years ago up to the present. And it says, Chris Dewey is the editor of Mike Oldfield's fan magazine and has worked directly with Mike Oldfield, Virgin Records, EMI, WEA, Universal Music, Mike's managers, promoters, guest musicians, producers, engineers and personal assistants since founding the non-for-profit Dark Star in 1986. Chris is married with 2 children and lives in Dorset. So, like the synopsis of the book suggests, Chris Dewey is the editor of the Dark Star fanzine, and he's done a clever thing by compiling all this information from all those magazines. He's made a book which reads more like a documentary than a standard autobiography. There's lots of interviews from various people, as it suggests, and sprinkled here and there are some of Chris's own personal opinions on various matters. Obviously some of them I agree with and some of them I don't. But what I like about the book is it's a very easy read. It's not a particular long book, but it gives plenty of information. There's lots of stuff that your casual fan might not have known about, and there's even for a fan like myself who's been a huge fan of Mike Oldfield for many years, there's been 1 or 2 things in the book which surprised us and stuff that I didn't know about. So the book's got about 20 chapters, give or take. You have a foreword by Paul Harris, who is Chris Dewey's co-editor in Dark Star. He gives a little insight into how he became a fan of Mike Oldfield and a little bit about how he got involved with the fanzine. And then it moves on to the preface, which is Chris telling you about how Dark Star came about, the fanzine, and a short story about his time with the magazine. So it starts off obviously from his birth through his childhood, through his early days performing in folk clubs with his sister Sally, and then it goes on to his days with the Sally Angie, which is a duo that he formed with his sister, folk duo which only lasted 1 album. And he moves on to telling you about his days with Kevin Ayers and the Whole World, which is immediately before he obviously records Tubular Bells, his groundbreaking debut album. So each chapter of the book is nicely illustrated by a combination of rare photographs, artwork from various fans, and also random images which have things to do with the subject that the chapter is talking about. So all in all, it's nicely presented, the book. And in the back you have a few interesting sections. You have an appendix which gives you a discography, albeit it's a condensed discography. But if you're just starting out and you want to collect Mike Oldfield's music, it's a good place to start. The second part is Appendix 2, which is a tourography. Again, this is condensed, but it gives you a good idea of the various things Mike Oldfield got up to over the years, tour-wise. Then we'll move on to a section where it tells you about the rare collectibles, which is a very interesting section if you're a hardcore collector and you want to try and get those rare gems and unreleased recordings and stuff like that. There's quite a few of them are listed, but there is a lot more out there. But a good place to start again. And then the last appendix is the unreleased tracks. Not so much bootlegs, but this is just stuff which has yet to see the light of day. So I thoroughly enjoyed this book. Like I say, it's been out for quite a while now. It's been out since 2013. It's a shame that Chris hasn't updated it to cover the years from 2013 to the present, because unfortunately Mike Oldfield is now retired, so he could release an updated version of this book and it would have a definitive proper ending. Two of the albums which it doesn't cover, which came out after 2013, is Man on the Rocks, which was released in 2014, and then you have the final album by Mike Oldfield, Return to Omadon, which was released in 2017. So unfortunately this book doesn't cover those years, which is why we need Chris to do an update. But if you're a Mike Oldfield fan and you really want to know about his career, then I couldn't recommend this book highly enough. It's really good. I bought this book through the Mike Oldfield fanzine, but I'm sure you can easily buy it on Amazon or other online shops. Published by Brimstone Press in 2013. The ISBN number is 978-1-906-385-35-4. So that was me little review of Chris Dewey's Mike Oldfield book, A Life Dedicated to Music. I hope you enjoyed it and thank you for listening. See you around.